chica, perdón que te salpique.
Hola a todos! You might have heard that Shakira has broken up with her now ex-husband, the football player Piqué. She has since released an amazing song that we will be diving into to learn some awesome Spanish vocab and to find out what really happened between these two. Spoiler, la razón es clara. Let's dive in! Perdón, ya cogí otro avión. Cogí comes from the verb coger, meaning to take, catch, or grab. In this case, it is translated as catch. Cogí is conjugated in the past tense of the first person I, yo. Yo cogí un avión. I caught a plane. The word otro means other or another. Let's see an example. Quiero aprender otro idioma. I want to learn another language. Avión means plane. Therefore, cogí otro avión means I caught another plane. It is also correct to say tomé otro avión. She is saying that she took another plane to get as far away from him as possible. Why? You'll find out soon. Aquí no vuelvo. The word aquí is an adverb used to point out a nearby location and specify where something is located or taking place. In English, you say here and there. In Spanish, it's aquí and allá. For example, soy de Colombia y vivo aquí. I am from Colombia and I live here. And hey, if you like Colombia and would like to learn more Spanish through Colombian music, you can definitely check out this video where we dive into Shakira's hit, La Bicicleta. So overall, with Aquí no vuelvo, Shakira is implying that she will not be coming back to this relationship. No quiero otra decepción. Remember we discussed the word otro? As you recall, it means other or another. In this case, she uses the feminine form, otra, because she's talking about a decepción, a feminine noun. Decepción means disappointment. She's saying that she doesn't want yet another disappointment from him. Tanto que te las das de campeón. Te las das is an extremely common expression in Latin America. It has no literal translation, but it means something similar to you give yourself so much or so much tack off. Let's break it down. Te means you, and it is a pronoun that indicates who performs the action. Das comes from the verb dar, meaning to give. Te las das means something like you give yourself so much credit for something. If I say, te las das de ser muy inteligente, you think you are so smart. I'm saying that you talk a lot about how smart you are and give yourself so much credit for that. It is an expression that tells the other person that they are smug and conceited. Y cuando te necesitaba. Necesitaba comes from the verb necesitar, meaning to need. It is conjugated in the past imperfect tense. The imperfect tense is used to refer to actions in the past that occurred repeatedly. For example, yo escuchaba esa canción todos los días. I used to listen to that song every day. Here, Shakira is talking about the many times when she needed him, like when her dad was in the hospital and he was out and about partying in Barcelona. Diste tu peor versión. Versión means version. It is very similar to the English word, with the only distinction being an accent in versión. To see other versions of this kind of lessons, like our upcoming video of a Colombian telenovela, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel.
Sorry, baby, hace rato.
Sorry, baby, hace rato. You might have thought that hace rato meant something like does while, but that's not the case. Hace rato means a while ago. Let's see it used in an example. Hace rato debí aprender español. I should have learned Spanish a while ago. You might have felt like this if you've been trying to learn Spanish with classic language learning platforms. They all rely on traditional textbook teaching and classic exercises which don't really teach you how to speak like a native does. Frustrante. That's what's so great about the FluentU app. It is a language learning platform that focuses on teaching new languages the way they are actually spoken by natives. FluentU features thousands of authentic videos from TED Talks, movies, series, and more. Every video includes interactive subtitles that you can click on to get in-context definitions, plus video examples of the words being used in different scenarios. You can also get tested with personalized quizzes and speaking questions. If you actually want to be fluent and sound like a native, I definitely recommend FluentU. You can even get a 2-week free trial by clicking on the link in the description below. Plus, there's actually a great sale, so there's literally no better timing. Que yo debí botar ese gato. Botar is a verb that means to throw away or dump. Be careful not to confuse it with the verb votar, which means to vote. There's this thing in Latin America where, thanks to urban music and reggaeton, it's common to call men and women gatos y gatas. The classic meaning for gatos and gatas is simply cats. However, in urban music, it is the equivalent of saying guys and girls. It is a common thing in this music genre, but not something you really hear in day-to-day conversations. Hace rato debí botar ese gato is a funny expression that really only makes sense in Spanish. Good thing you're on your way to being fluent, right? Overall, Shakira is saying that she should have dumped this guy a long time ago. Una loba como yo no está pa novatos. In this line, she says, a loba like her no está pa novatos. We'll get to the explanation of loba very soon. Now, let's focus on no está pa novatos. No está pa or no está para is a common expression in Latin America, and it means she or he is not up for that or not meant for that. Remember that the word pa is the shortened version of para, which means for, to, or of. In this case, it means to. Let's see an example of the whole expression. Yo no estoy pa sufrir means I'm not meant to suffer or I'm not up to suffering. Una loba como yo no está pa tipos como tú. Now, Shakira says, una loba como yo, which is a reference to her older song, Loba, where she describes herself as a she-wolf. The song Loba is a very good learning opportunity because it has both Spanish and English versions. However, if you want to find out what are other great songs to learn Spanish, make sure you check out this video where we give you some surprising recommendations and you'll discover great Latin music. Pa tipos como tú. Tipos is the plural of the word tipo, which means guy. This is a word you use to refer to someone you don't really know, just some guy. For example, había un tipo apuesto en el tren. There was a handsome guy on the train. A ti te quedé grande. Te quedé grande literally means I was too big on you. However, in this case, what she is trying to say is that she was too much for him. Te is the pronoun that indicates who is the recipient of the action, which in this case would be you, the listener, tú. Quedé comes from the verb quedar, meaning to stay or fit. One way you will commonly hear it is, este pantalón me queda grande. These pants are big on me. Y por eso estás con una igualita que tú. Con una means with a. The word una implies that she is talking about a feminine being. If she said con uno, it would be a masculine one. Igualita is the diminutive form of the word igual. Igual means the same. The diminutive form igualita is very common in Colombia, and it is used to emphasize when two things are extremely alike, very, very similar. For example, tu mamá es igualita a ti. Your mom looks just like you. Therefore, overall, Shakira is saying that the girl he's with is just like him. Worthless. The drama begins.
Esto es pa' que te mortifique.
Esto es pa' que te mortifique. Mortifique comes from the verb mortificar, meaning to mortify. She is saying that this song is meant to mortify him. Esto es para que te mortifique. This word is conjugated in the present subjunctive, which is used to talk about situations of doubt, desire, emotion, necessity, or uncertainty. Just like in this case, where Shakira is expressing her desire to see him mortified.
Que mastique, trague, trague, mastique.
Mastique y trague, trague y mastique. Mastique comes from the verb masticar, meaning to chew. The apostrophe at the end of this verb provides the info that a usual ending is being omitted in casual speech, just like we saw with pa. She is omitting the S in mastiques y tragues. Both of these verbs are conjugated in the present subjunctive again, which you're now very familiar with. It is used to talk about desires, wishes, and possibilities. In other words, she is telling him she wrote this song for him to acknowledge what he has done to her.
Yo contigo ya no regreso.
Yo contigo ya no regreso. The expression ya no means no longer or not anymore. For example, ya no vivo en España. I no longer live in Spain. Regreso comes from the verb regresar, meaning to return, come back, or get back. When paired together, ya no regreso means I won't go back.
Ni que me llore ni me suplique.
Ni aunque me llores, ni me suplique. Suplique from the verb suplicar means to beg. She is once again omitting the S at the end of the word because she is speaking casually. This verb is conjugated in the present subjunctive too. Remember we discussed it? The present subjunctive is used to talk about wishes, necessities, uncertainties, and possibilities. She is saying that in the possible event of him begging for her, she will not go back to him. Go Queen!
Entendí que no es culpa mía que te critique.
Entendí que no es culpa mía que te critiquen. Critiquen comes from the verb criticar, meaning to criticize. Guess what tense it's conjugated in? You got it! The present subjunctive. This makes perfect sense because overall throughout the song, Shakira is talking about the things she wants, the possibilities, her emotions, and her desires. Exactly the function of the present subjunctive.
Yo solo hago música.
Yo solo hago música. Solo is a super useful and versatile word. It can mean alone, lonely, or only. In this case, it means only. Let's see another example. Solo estaba preguntando. I was only asking.
Perdón que te salpique.
Perdón que te salpique. Salpique comes from the verb salpicar, meaning to splash. It is once again conjugated in the present subjunctive. As you might have noticed, this line is also a fun game of words. The name of her ex-husband is Piqué, and she delivers the line as Sal Piqué. She's so sassy, I love her. Me dejaste de vecina a la suegra. Suegra means mother-in-law. Vecina means neighbor. In this line, Shakira is saying that Piqué made her live next to her mother-in-law, which doesn't sound fun at all.
Con la prensa en la puerta.
Con la prensa en la puerta. La prensa means the press. This is in reference to the media, paparazzi, and media outlets. En la puerta means at the door. The word en is used to indicate location, and it can also mean in, at, or on. Puerta means door or entrance. In this line, Shakira is referring to the press being constantly at her door, harassing her for information and more gossip.
La deuda en Hacienda.
Y la deuda en Hacienda. Deuda means debt. Hacienda has two meanings. The most common one is una hacienda, a country estate with a big house where they grow coffee, flowers, bananas, or more. On the other hand, hacienda is how we call tax authorities like the IRS. You might have heard that Shakira and her ex-husband got in some trouble with their taxes, so she is recriminating him for leaving her with that mess. To think that they were once in love! Shakira actually wrote a very romantic song for Piqué when they were happy, and what she tells him there is quite different. To check it out and find out how it was when things were great, click on this video.
Te creíste que me heriste y me volviste más dura.
Te creíste que me heriste y me volviste más dura. Me volviste means you made me or you turned me. Volviste comes from the verb volver, meaning to return or turn. In this case, it means turn, which implies a transformation. It is conjugated in the past second person tense you. The pronoun me before volviste implies that Shakira is the recipient of the action, while the conjugation of the verb shows that her ex is the one performing it. Tú me volviste. You turned me. Más dura means tougher. Dura typically means hard, and it is commonly heard when describing surfaces or textures. However, like in this case, it means tough or strong. Let's see another example. Tenía una dura mirada. She had a tough look on her face. This line, overall, means that even though he played her and he thought he hurt her, he actually made her stronger. I mean, go Shakira!
Las mujeres ya no lloran, las mujeres facturan.
Las mujeres ya no lloran. Las mujeres facturan. This is my absolute favorite line from the entire song. She says, women no longer cry, women cash out. Las mujeres facturan. Facturan comes from the verb facturar, meaning to cash out or deliver the bill to get your money. It is a very common term in the work environment. If you've delivered a service and will be handing out a receipt to be paid, that would be facturar. With this line, Shakira is saying that women no longer sit and feel sad when a man leaves. Women go out, work, and cash out. Exactly what she is doing with this song. It's a lot to remember, I know. Just so you don't have to worry about that, we've made you a free PDF of all the words we've learned today, and you can get it by clicking on the link in the description below.
Tiene nombre de persona buena.
Tiene nombre de persona buena. We are getting really close to finding out what the real reason for the breakup was. In this line, Shakira is talking about someone she hasn't mentioned yet, and she says, tiene nombre. Tiene from the verb tener means to have. Nombre means name, so tiene nombre means he or she has name. De is a word that has many uses and meanings, but in this case it means a. De persona buena means a good person. Overall, tiene nombre de persona buena means she or he has a good person's name.
Claramente no es como suena.
Claramente no es como suena. Claramente means clearly. This is applied to situations that are obvious or transparent. However, this is when the story gets interesting. Shakira got cheated on by a woman named Clara. So this is a word game that implies that even though the word clara means clear and transparent, this girl is clearly not like that. Claramente no es como suena. Clearly, Clara is not like what the name implies. Tiene nombre de persona buena. Here, she repeats the line we previously explained.
Claramente es igualita que tú.
Claramente es igualita que tú. Remember, igualita que tú means just like you? So here, Shakira is referring more directly to Clara being just like him.
tipos como tú.
Pa tipos como tú. This is a fantastic way to learn Spanish and discover new Latin music. Let's keep learning by breaking down this beautiful song by Latin Grammy winner Bad Bunny.